Music is a moral law. It gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, a charm to sadness, and life to everything. It is the essence of order and leads to all that is good, just, and beautiful, of which it is the invisible but nevertheless dazzling, passionate, and eternal form. So that's a Plato one, but I mean Einstein and a whole heap of other like intelligent people when it comes to philosophy or whatever keep, referring to music as something that inspires them, not just for musical purposes, but also for the other things that they're studying in life. So yeah, it's really challenging, but I think they know that at the end of the day, they're going to meet the challenges. So that's what keeps them confident throughout the process of learning.
It can be strange to rely on other musicians, but you kind of just have to learn to develop that trust with them, and that also comes from like spending time with them outside of playing. So, it's not really something you think of constantly, but it's always in the back of your mind.
Being reliant on other people is something that's kind of like second nature once you've been doing this for a while, because you know that you're not the only one who makes the sound. And I guess that's something that happens in all team sports and whatever. It's like if someone makes a mistake and lets a goal in, there's nothing you can do about that, and you just have to have a good attitude towards it. And it's the same with music, people make mistakes, but also the good thing about relying on other people and playing as part of an ensemble is that you can like exceed what you could do yourself. And so when everyone's really in that moment, that's maybe why it's so like astounding, is because it's something that you didn't even think you could like do yourself, but you're like a very big part of it.
So our schedule, I have stage band after school on a Monday from 3:30 till 5:30. Synfo after school on Wednesday from 3:30 till 6 currently, and on a Friday morning from 7:30 till about 8:45. And yeah, I'll do an hour plus practice each night, or come in. I try and as much as I can get to school at about 8 o'clock, because I think it's best to kind of pace your playing over the day.
A symphonic band is basically a modern version of an orchestra, and instead of strings it has wind instruments. So that means it still has the brass instruments such as like French horn, trumpet, trombone,
Flute, oboe, clarinet, bassoon, saxophones, euphonium, tuba, percussion, occasionally double bass.
In some pieces, there's a moment where you play a chord or a line and you're just so together, like you can't hear yourself. It's like everyone's sound is together, and you know, it's not just one individual thing, it's making something together and you can hear it as a whole rather than your own individual part.
Yeah, I mean, it is very challenging for them. Once again, we talked about what inspires them. It's the same thing, like, it's got to be that right balance of being challenging, but making sure they feel safe in being challenged, because there's no doubt when we get the really challenging music the first time before we start preparing for South Street, like for example with the October Shostakovich this year, you could see a lot of the students going, oh my god, this is amazing, but can we really do this? You know, like, and they're excited about it because there's a lot of self-belief that builds in them over years, you know. So it's that balance of, like I said before, challenging repertoire but being supported so that anything that is hard for them, they know that the instrumental staff and their other colleagues and myself are going to find ways to help them get better at it.
So the stage band is the senior jazz ensemble at Eltham.
I would think that the stage band plays really exciting music, which is much more accessible to like the younger generation, so that can seem really attractive.
There's just that really good groove in it. Just, you know, we play a lot of swing stuff, obviously, because it's a jazz ensemble. And I feel for the most part, people who aren't musicians in general, they have a much easier time connecting with that sort of music because it's a much more contemporary style of music.
When I get up to do a solo, often like there's this really weird feeling of like being alone.
But kind of when you get on stage and like everything's in the moment, it kind of, you don't think about it much and you just think about playing, but it's usually the moments leading directly up to it that are the scariest.
Once you get a hang of hearing how the solo should be played, you know, the sort of emotions that you want to bring up in the solo, it can be a lot of fun. Yeah, so.
The students pick themselves for the solos basically by developing through the ensemble over many years. The players that are playing the solos, generally speaking, are the first player in the section, so they've worked really hard through the audition process and their own personal development to place themselves in that. But then what happens is sometimes we get like 2 or 3 amazing Year 12s all in the same year playing the same instrument. So that's when we just balance it out, and someone will get a solo for this one and someone else will get a solo for that one.
For me, it's my way of expressing myself, I guess, music, and even more so with the larger ensembles, because it's a way of connecting with other people in the ensemble and the audience, and just gaining that new experience and meeting new people who you might never talk to, but you have that one thing in common that you can share with them.